This is the Fox 5 News Block.
Protesters making their way to Newark as a deportation hearing takes place for Palestinian activist Mahmoud Khalil. And tragedy overseas, more than 150 are dead after a powerful earthquake shakes Thailand. Good afternoon, I'm Bianca Peters. Welcome to the News Block. Those stories in a moment, but first, here's a live look outside right now on this Friday. Let's bring in Liv Johnson for a look at the forecast. Liv, things warming up over the weekend.
Yes, warming up. Already starting today. Look at this temperature difference, 11 degrees warmer than we were this time yesterday. Most about 10 to 15 degrees warmer. We love to see it. We've already crossed into the 60s, 61 in New York, 62 out on Long Island. We're still stuck in the 50s for Hartford, Poughkeepsie, Bridgeport, but 58, 59, can't complain too much, and 64 down the shore in New Jersey. Wind speeds have also calmed down a decent amount. Yesterday we had really strong wind gusts, really the past few days, but right now about 5 to 15 mile per hour winds. We're gusting a bit stronger in some areas like Newark and Belmar, but we're not even getting any wind gusts in New York right now. Tomorrow those winds pick back up, so not too much of a break that we're getting, but still wind speeds between 20 25 miles per hour, and the temperatures are going to be nice. We have a risk of a few passing showers maybe later tonight, and that also comes back tomorrow afternoon. But most of your day is going to be gorgeous. Just a few spotty showers that are in the area, about a high of 78. Bianca?
Liv, thanks so much. Well, developing news now, a deportation hearing taking place as lawyers for Palestinian activist Mahmoud Khalil challenged the Trump administration's push to deport him. Hundreds of protesters are gathered outside of the court right now in a case that is garnering international attention. Let's get out to Linda Schmidt, who's live in the Newark area with the very latest. Hey, Linda.
Good afternoon to you there, Bianca. Well, first of all, this was a virtual appearance today for Mahmoud Khalil. He was not physically in court here today in Newark. That's because he is still being held at an ICE detention center in Louisiana. But his lawyers, a team of lawyers, they were here in court today asking a judge to have his case handled right here in New Jersey, since he was arrested in New York. Have it handled in New Jersey instead of Louisiana, which is where the Trump administration wants it handled. Well, today the judge said he will consider that, and he will issue a ruling, his decision on that request, as soon as possible. But go ahead, take a look at this video here. In the meantime, there was a very large crowd here today, about 200 people protesting outside U.S. District Court here in Newark in support of Khalil. Now, this is why his lawyers were inside court fighting his deportation battle. The Trump administration wants to deport the recent grad student at Columbia University for his involvement in pro-Palestinian, anti-Israel protests at Columbia. They say that he used Hamas propaganda, and the U.S. government has designated Hamas as a terrorist group. Now, the administration also claims that Khalil withheld memberships that he had with certain organizations when he applied for and eventually received his green card. They want the case transferred to Louisiana, where Khalil was taken after his arrest in New York. His lawyers say his detention is unconstitutional.
The reason they are fighting so hard on jurisdiction, as extraordinary as that is because they want to buy time. They want to buy time in the hope that all of you will go away, buy time in the hope that all of these people will go away, and so that they can get away with what they're trying to do to Mr. Khalil and to others.
And also in court today, Khalil's lawyers asked for bail, but the judge said he is going to wait to hear arguments on the bail issue until after he issues a ruling on the jurisdictional issue. Back inside to you, Bianca.
All right, Linda, thank you so much for that. Meanwhile, we're turning now to this as we are seeing what's happening with President Trump asking the Supreme Court to resume deportation of Venezuelan migrants to El Salvador under the Alien Enemies Act. The federal appeals court in Washington already rejected the Trump administration's plea in a vote of 2-1. Meanwhile, 178 migrants were deported from the United States to Venezuela today. This was the second group to be repatriated following the resumption of transfers announced last weekend by U.S. and Venezuelan authorities. And Vice President Vance is in Greenland for a controversial trip to the Danish territory. He told troops at a U.S. military base there that the president is really interested in Arctic security. However, the initial trip was scaled back after an uproar among Greenlanders and Danes who were irked that the second family's original itinerary was planned without consulting them. Relations have been tense after President Trump has repeatedly suggested the U.S. should in some form control mineral-rich Greenland. And developing news out of Southeast Asia, where a powerful 7.7 magnitude earthquake rocked Myanmar and Thailand earlier today. More than 150 people are dead across that region. Emergency crews now sifting through the rubble in Bangkok, Thailand. Rescuers are on the scene of the collapsed high-rise building, and dashcam video shows the moment that the earthquake collapsed this high-rise building in Bangkok. Hundreds of thousands of people have evacuated their homes and other structures, and witnesses describe that moment that it happened.
I thought I was fainting because everything suddenly shaking just a little bit, and then when you feel harder, and I was turning to my boss and I was like, do you feel the same thing? And she's like, yeah, I thought it was me. And then the light started to fall off the floor, the ground, and then we ran down to the building from 25th floor.
The quake was followed by a 6.4 magnitude aftershock. To the Middle East now, where Israel has launched an attack in Beirut. This marks the first time the Israelis have struck the capital of Lebanon since last November's ceasefire. Israel warned the people in Beirut that it was going to retaliate after rockets were launched from Lebanon into Israel earlier in the day. Hezbollah says it had nothing to do with that attack and that the Israelis used it as an excuse to launch an attack of their own. Meanwhile, there's no word on casualties, but Israel says it was targeting a drone storage facility used by Hezbollah. We'll be right back with the very latest from the Gilgo Beach serial killer case.
Master anything with the fastest wireless speeds from Spectrum.
All right, welcome back. Suspected Gilgo Beach serial killer Rex Heuermann back in court again today on Long Island. Today's hearing set to determine if some scientific evidence could be used at trial, but that is not all we are finding out today. Jody Goldberg joins us live from Riverhead with the very latest on this. Hey, Jody.
Bianca, prosecution just finished with their first witness. It took just under 3 hours, and now inside, the defense is cross-examining her. As you mentioned, today is the first day of the Fry hearing. I'll get to that in just a second, but it's also the first time that Rex Heuermann was sitting down, and it was the first time that he didn't have handcuffs on. He was closer to us also than he's ever been before. Take a look at these pictures. Here he is inside the courtroom. He is inside. He appeared to be wearing a new shirt today. After the lunch break, he walked in, and some would say he had a slight smirk on his face. The prosecution's first witness was an associate professor who studies and teaches about genome sequencing, which is basically an instruction manual for building the human. And when it comes to the kind of DNA officials used to tie Heuermann to the killings, she explained its precision, and it has been transformed over the year. When asked if the method is genetically accepted by the scientific community, she said yes, and she was confident in her response. Now, the Suffolk County District Attorney's Office will call in several witnesses during this multi-day Fry hearing to try to prove that the DNA used in this case should be admissible or allowed during the trial. They argue the technique is new tested technology. Heuermann's attorney, they're trying to cast doubt on the evidence, saying the new DNA methodology has never been used in New York courts before. Asa Ellerup, who filed for divorce shortly after Heuermann's arrest, was sitting right behind me in court with her daughter and their attorney. All along, the government has said Ellerup and the couple's children were out of town when the victims were killed. We spoke with her attorney this morning, who tells us the divorce was finalized yesterday, and she's here to see the case for herself.
She's interested to learn about the DNA process. Obviously, one of her hairs and one of her daughter Victoria's hairs were some of the evidence that were found on some of the victims. So she's interested to learn that process, how they got to determine it was her or Victoria's hair that were on some of these victims' bodies.
Now the defense says the cross-examination is going to take about 2 hours. We'll find out later on today, hopefully, when the next date for the hearing will be, and no trial date has been set yet, Bianca. We're in Riverhead, Long Island. Jody Goldberg, right back to you.
All right, Jody, thanks for the update on that. To this now, the Connecticut woman accused of holding her stepson captive for more than 2 decades pleads not guilty. The court also ordered Kimberly Sullivan to wear an electronic monitor device while she remains out on bail. Prosecutors wanted her put on house arrest, claiming the alleged victim is living in fear. Police say that the 32-year-old victim was held without proper food or medical attention for all of those years. Authorities also say that he started a fire last month to alert authorities to his being held captive. All right, the NYPD is searching for 2 suspected vandals who targeted a Cybertruck in Brooklyn. This happened early yesterday morning while the truck was parked on Monroe Street in Bed-Stuy. Police say the Tesla's vehicle's safety cameras recorded the men as they carved the word Nazis and a swastika on its doors. In recent weeks, there have been several reports of Cybertrucks being targeted by opponents of Tesla CEO Elon Musk. And Amazon's Prime Day could be getting supersized. Amazon services team reportedly sent a message to independent sellers saying 2 days wasn't long enough for its shopping bonanza this year, and the event could be extended up to 4 days, allowing the company and sellers to drum up more revenue. This year will mark the 10th anniversary of Prime Day. Meanwhile, the WNBA's reigning champs in New York Liberty are getting a brand new state-of-the-art basketball practice facility in Greenpoint, Brooklyn. The team announced construction of a 75,000 square foot facility that will include a rooftop patio, a broadcast studio, and retail space. The project will be fully funded by the Liberty's ownership group and will also include opportunities for community use. It is scheduled to open in 2027. Well, get ready because tomorrow marks the opening weekend for Luna Park in Coney Island. This year marks the 98th anniversary of the Cyclone. Officials say there will be new arcade games this year and a refreshed patio at Salt and Sizzle Luna Park will also be open weekends, but it will be open all week just to celebrate spring break. That takes place the week of April 11th. And then after Memorial Day weekend, the park will be open every day of the week. Would be a good time to check it out, Liv, this weekend as we're getting some pretty warm weather.
Yes, tomorrow's going to be a gorgeous day to be outside. Now, just want to remind you guys of a few showers that we could see later this afternoon, this evening. A few scattered showers in the area, but most of us will be dry. Same thing tomorrow afternoon. It's going to be a mostly beautiful, warm day, but another chance of a few scattered showers. Again, most of us are going to be okay. We're going to be pretty good to make plans outside. Then Sunday, different story. More widespread rain that takes us into the start of the week. Monday's looking pretty rainy, but a great day today, 63. Tomorrow, 78. A cold front passes through Sunday, so we are cooling down a bit, but overall, just great temperatures for quite some time. Monday starting us off with a high of 70. That's the positive, but also some rain. Very up and down, a bit of a roller coaster, Bianca.
All right, Liv, thanks so much. Well, that's your news block for now. Bianca Peters, thanks so much for joining us. Tune into the 5 o'clock news on Fox 5 and right here on Fox Local for all the day's news as it develops. Have a great weekend.